Hello everyone. It's been far too long since my last upload, but I have returned. As promised, I wanted to make a special episode on shotguns, and today I decided to focus specifically on pump action shotguns. I hope you all enjoy, and let's get started. Pump actions have an interesting history. The first one ever sold was a Spencer 1882, which predates John Moses' work. However, we will be skipping that because right after it comes the Winchester model 1893, followed by the 1897 seen in the background footage. It is also known as the trench gun, and I'm pretty sure you all have seen it from many World War II games. And it has become a favorite of mine, and honestly, it inspired me to make this episode. This upload's going to be a bit different than usual, as normally I like to go into history and statistics, but due to the nature of some of these weapons in games, I won't really be covering either of them as much as I normally do. I wanted to make this one more of a heartfelt piece because pump action shotguns have been a bit of a staple as to why I got into all of this. Returning to my old friend, the trench gun is one of the first guns that I ever saw in a game, and it really got me interested. And that model you will see in the background right now was Call of Duty World War II's inclusion of the trench gun, which they renamed the combat shotgun. Interestingly enough, you can see that it doesn't have the bayonet lug, but it is included on some skins, which, I don't know, I think that's just a little interesting thing. You'll almost always see the trench gun with the bayonet because, trench warfare back in the day. And, the Germans tried to get it banned from war, but I'm pretty sure everyone already knows that part of the story, and I'll let you all continue. It's been a staple of Call of Duty Zombies since its first inclusion in World at War and on some of those maps. However, I'd like to point out two of my favorite versions. As I mentioned earlier, World War II was the first one that I saw, and that one's just an upgraded shotgun once you pack a punch it. Nothing too fancy, but it gets the job done, and it's always one of my go-to weapons whenever I play. The other one you saw earlier in the footage, earlier in one of the earlier clips, you saw that in Black Ops 4 Zombies, it upgrades into an explosive shotgun, which actually, if you don't direct impact a zombie, then it will ricochet once or twice, and then it will blow up wherever. So I think it's overall just a very interesting shotgun, and I love it. And with all of these, I would like to open up the discussion in the comments as to what are some of your favorite shotguns. I will leave an honorable mention for the Call of Duty Vanguard combat shotgun. It isn't my absolute favorite, but I love that you could put the attachments on to make a more traditional looking trench gun. If you don't see an image here of the Vanguard one, it's because I got too lazy to edit one in, and I'm not paying $30 to play Vanguard. One last honorable mention that I'm going to include in this earlier set of shotguns is the Ithaca Model 37. Unfortunately, a lot of my footage got corrupted when I was making this video, as it's been this one's taken me months to work on, and it does show up in Cold War as the Howard 77, and it is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best shotgun, at least besides the Spas 12 in that game. The Ithaca Model 37 in some games can be modified to look like a trench gun, which is why I do want to include it over here. Plus, it does, it was made in 1937, or around that time, so, it just fits in with the whole thing. Anyways, I'd like to move on to the next set of shotguns that I would like to include. The next two shotguns that I will discuss, and you'll see a mixture of the two in the background footage, is the Remington 870 and the Mossberg 500, which both released in that order, respectively, in 1950 and then later in 1960. They both show up very often in games, and you might not even recognize it unless you look a little bit closer, as they show up as your standard pump action shotguns. I just made air quotes, but no one can see that. Anyways, they show up in everything from Call of Duty, Fortnite, even I want to say they showed up. No, sorry, that one was a misquote. I'll be leaving a lot of stuff in. You'll hear a lot more bloopers than usual, as I really just want to make this episode more of a chill time. You know, it's been a long time since I've done this, and I want to make this one a bit more heartfelt to everyone. So sorry if it turns out a little bit more unprofessional than usual. Unfortunately, my Killing Floor 2 footage got corrupted, but it included 3 shotguns that I had wanted to show you all. It did include the Mossberg 500, which, you know, that sucks because that was pretty much some of the only footage that I got of that shotgun. In the background, you do see a Remington 870, and in the Killing Floor 2 footage, I also had some more trench gun footage and one for the KSG, which I will talk about later. Most of these shotguns that I have listed have had military service or are in police use even to this day. But now I'm going to move on to the more wacky ones. Pump-action shotguns have found their way into the modern day, and not just then, even into the future. I will credit Black Ops 2 to this, as they include the KSG-12, as I mentioned earlier, which is a double-barrel pump-action shotgun. And it looks really cool. I mechanically have no idea how it works, and I would love to figure it out one day. Moving on, as I had said, they have found their way not just into the modern day, but even into the future. In the background footage, you will see that I am playing Black Ops 7 Zombies. Please do not judge. It was... I don't know. I have no words. I love Call of Duty. I'm almost always going to go back to it. I'm probably not going to get Black Ops 6, though. Unless this video gets adequate views. Then I'll probably start covering some of those, too. Anyways, the one that you see in the background is called the M10 Breacher. And the reason why I decided to include this shotgun was because of a unique feature that they decided to give it. You see, it's not just a pump-action shotgun, it's a pump-action charge shotgun. And as Russian Badger once said, we're charging shotgun. That is the pack-a-punch effect for this charge shotgun. It is incredible. As you charge it, the accuracy gets better, and I believe when it gets pack-a-punched, the damage increases when you charge the shots. Normally it doesn't if it's unpack-a-punched, but anyways, moving on. This became quickly one of my favorite guns to use in Black Ops 7, and it really took me by surprise. I didn't even know that the shotguns were good in this game. I only hear about how mediocre to bad they are. However, if you are playing Black Ops 7 right now, I would recommend that you just give it a try. As you can see, even though I'm only on round 12, it just obliterates everything. This is Rarity 4, but it's only Pack 1. So I would really recommend trying the shotgun out. And honestly, if you have any of the games that I've included background footage for, I would recommend you try out any of the shotguns that I have shown. You may not like the pump-action shotgun playstyle. It took me years to get into it, even though I thought they looked amazing. And over the years, you know, being a mechanical engineer, I try to figure out how a lot of stuff works. And I think the creativity behind a lot of these is just incredible. Pump-action shotguns have played a significant impact on how I play games. I used to be only an assault rifle and LMG person. That would be the only things I ever went for. Until, as I mentioned earlier, I saw the trench gun. My cousin and I, we would just play zombies together all day, all night, and eventually one time I pulled the combat shotgun from the mystery box in World War II Zombies. And since then, my views have changed. I've branched out to many more weapons. And I will be covering more assault rifles and other versions next. Sorry, other weapon types next. But I did really want to just come back and give everyone a heartfelt shotgun episode. If everyone would like to see more, I can cover semi-automatics and full autos in the future. And with all this being said, I think I'm going to start wrapping it up for the day. I mean, this is already a 10-minute episode. I believe that's already longer than I normally go. And I'm going to add a few more honorable mentions here that may or may not be screenshots, but I would like to include the KRM-262 from Black Ops 3, which is another pump-action shotgun that got me into all of this. I don't know how I didn't see it until after I saw the combat shotgun, World War II being released in 2017 and Black Ops 3 in 2015. But besides that, as I mentioned, the KRM-262, the KS-23 being a Russian 4-gauge shotgun, which if you know how shotgun gauges work, that's a pretty devastating round. And honestly, if everyone would like to see more, I'd love to cover these weapons a bit more. And from here on out, I'd like to open up the discussion to you all. Maybe you can tell me not just your favorite shotguns to use in games, but maybe some of your favorite weapons to use in general. I would love to branch out and see a few more guns, and I might make a special episode on assault rifles next, as they were the first weapon type that got me into anything. That and one specific LMG that I believe I will cover soon. Thank you all for sticking around for this long. I know I've been rambling a lot more than I usually have, and I hope you all have a great day. Please let me know what you'd like to see next, and I did get a job recently at the beginning of this year, and I'm still working there. I'm going to take some summer classes, so the summer upload schedule is going to be a lot slower than it was last year. However, I would like to make these a lot more heartfelt than I have. Not that any of my episodes in the past weren't heartfelt, I always put my all into them, but I try to follow a professional format, I'd like to say, and I feel like if I follow this format, even though I do include a lot of my bloopers, I feel a lot better about the content that I make. So hopefully this will come out a lot better in the final product. And I will be making quite a few more goofy videos with friends too, so I hope you all enjoy those. Have a great day, and I hope to see and hear from you all soon. This has been Mr. Ghost, signing out.